Here's the truth about being a Marine. We're loud, we drink too much, fight too much, swear too much.
You f***ing asshole.
And truth be told, our rifle is the only thing that we think about more than sex.
You know, the subject matter of the film never really meant it to become a movie. It was more of a video journal that I was using almost for notes, so that I could go back and reflect on that later and write a book about my experiences. So shooting itself was actually really simple. I mean, it would just be simply lifting the camera up, taking a shot of whatever it was I thought was interesting, and then just dropping it back. And as long as I stayed focused outward on where the enemy was, and I was still doing my job, it really didn't interfere at all. And you see in the movie there's some points where we're actually using the video camera to look at something and try and zoom in on it to see if we could see if it was personnel or a flag flying or whatever the movement was.
And the film isn't, it's not a political statement for or against the war. We're not bashing the president or supporting the president. What you're seeing and what you're hearing is everything that he captured on the front lines and everything that he saw through his own viewfinder.
A very real look of what it's like to fight a war. Things are almost sterile after they've been filtered and kind of presented to the general public. And this film is timeless. War is something that is, the technology may change, but the human element of war never does change. If you get out of the military after a combat tour or whatever, and you're discharged, you go from being surrounded by people that have had a similar experience, a shared experience of combat, and that's almost like a support network because you're with all your buddies. Then you're discharged, and now you're kind of alone and adrift out in the civilian world, and it can be difficult, to talk about, issues and how you're feeling. So you can also have a feeling of isolation from those who haven't had that shared experience, and I think that can, lead to other things, whether it's post-traumatic stress or self-destructive behaviors, things like that. So you really have to be careful. You need to take care of yourself, and you need to be kind of proactive, and live a life that's going to lead you on the high road versus taking the low road, or else you can really screw up your life pretty quickly.
It's actually been gratifying because we've had family members and veterans from not only Iraq and Afghanistan, but as far back as Korea and Vietnam, coming up to us after the screen and saying thank you. That's the first time I've seen my story up on the screen, and it's been really interesting. Or parents coming up and saying, wow, now I get an idea of what my son or my daughter went through, and that's been really gratifying to share that. And you've talked about the kind of shared experience of watching the film, doing Q&As after the screenings, and to just interact with people, and certainly veterans who may have not had that kind of outlet to talk about it, and the film kind of serves as a sounding board and a starting place for people to start discussing a lot of these issues. And so the film is getting out there, and then of course it'll be available on DVD. If you go to www.severeclearthemovie.com, there's a way to get it out. So we're just trying to get it out to as many people as we can, and so far the reaction has been fantastic.
And sometimes, in the chaos of battle, the difference between life and death is a split second.